For more Liquid Lunch, head over to YouTube, do a search for Liquid Lunch TV, and hit that subscribe button.
On Newsmax TV, I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you live as we do every day from the Question Tequila Studios. Today we are downtown in Manhattan. We're coming to you every day like we do 12 to 2 Eastern live. And before getting into our next guest, criminal defense attorney Vince Trimarco, I want to just give you an update. The Dow is back in the green after a few days of getting smashed over the head. The bulls seem to be back in charge, but we need a little more of this uncertainty to go away, and then the market should be digesting all the great economic things that Donald Trump is doing for us. Vince Trimarco joins us. As I said, he's an attorney that has right political leaning, very right, and he's a criminal defense attorney right here in New York. Vince, thanks for joining us on Liquid Lunch.
Thank you, John.
So tell me, I hear about they want to impeach Trump. They want to impeach Kavanaugh. Impeach. Now this is an impeachment official inquiry. What are the legal ramifications of what they're doing here? Give us the constitutional and the law side of it.
The important thing to remember, number one, is it's a procedure that's very specifically laid out in the Constitution. All we got to do is read it. What liberal Democrats love to do is hide the Constitution or ignore the Constitution, as we all know. It's very common. So you have to have a vote of the House of Representatives that acts almost like an indictment, if you're familiar with criminal law. They basically vote whether or not to start the impeachment proceeding. That's a straight-up majority vote in the House of Representatives. Once that happens, it then goes to the Senate. The Senate is where they actually have a trial. The trial is presided over by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and the Senate has to vote by a 2/3 majority to actually convict, so to speak, and impeach a president or any elected official and remove him from office. And the worst thing that could happen is you get removed from office. It's not a criminal proceeding. It's not a crime. You can't be imprisoned. So that being said, all of this nonsense that's going on now is basically a show. It's a show to embarrass the president. It's a show to affect the upcoming elections. They haven't even entertained a vote to start the proceedings of impeachment. So right now, really nothing's happening. That's why I said it's a show. It's a farce.
So let me ask you this. All Nancy Pelosi has announced at this point is that it's an official impeachment inquiry. So she hasn't taken that vote that you're talking about to start the impeachment process, has she?
That's right. She has not. And there's a specific reason why Nancy Pelosi hasn't done it. And that's, there are certain swing vote districts where more moderate Democrats reside. And if they were forced to take a vote to carry forward the impeachment proceedings, then those moderate blue dog Democrats
they're going to get exposed.
Yeah, absolutely. They'd be exposed and potentially lose those seats. So it's more important for Pelosi to preserve the seats, the Democrat majority in the House, than actually follow through with the impeachment proceeding.
Well, I want to tell you about a development that's happening in my district. I live in Staten Island, New York. That's New York 11, and we got a freshman Democrat in there, Max Rose,
right,
who wrote an op-ed in our local paper saying that he's against impeachment and we need to put this stuff to the side a couple of weeks ago. And now last night he had a town hall and said he's for impeachment. So it looks like Nancy Pelosi is going around whipping some of those swing votes into place so she can get a unanimous decision.
Well, that makes sense. It would be a great embarrassment if they go ahead with the impeachment vote in the House of Representatives and they fail.
Right.
And you only need a simple majority to do it. So theoretically, they should be able to get it done. But my theory is, or my guess is, they won't do anything till after the midterm elections come up. Okay? This is just a hack job. It's designed to embarrass our president. They have to do anything they can, any dirty trick they can play to make this man look bad. They're going to do it. And that's what this is.
When you read, I mean, I literally read the entire thing. Many people haven't. They just hear what they want to hear. But when you read it objectively, as a criminal defense attorney, who do you think is more criminally liable in that to get charges against them, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Well, it would be ridiculous to think that the President of the United States can't consult with or speak with a leader of a foreign country. In fact, that's what the President's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's his job. Who in the government is allowed to do what the President does? He picks up the phone, he talks to a foreign leader. If there's a suspected criminal act or crime going on somewhere else, and the President says, hey, look into this.
Right.
Tell me what's illegal about that. And as a matter of fact, going back to the actual Constitution, which is what controls here, you have to be guilty of high crimes, misdemeanors, treason, or bribery. Very, very specific, okay?
Yeah.
High crimes and misdemeanors, what's traditionally thought of as a crime. Speaking to an elected official and say, hey, look into this thing. Investigate what went on there.
I think my predecessor's vice president may have been corrupt because his son was getting paid 50 grand a month for a no-show job after Joe Biden was running the Ukraine policy, right? That sounds like corruption to me. It don't pass the sniff test in Staten Island. I don't know how it is in Smithtown, Long Island, but you get a job to go run the policy in a country, and then all of a sudden your son gets a job from one of the biggest companies over there.
Well,
shabby.
Unfortunately, as we know, if you have a D before your name, you pretty much get away with whatever you want. So, yeah, absolutely, it's absolutely ridiculous. The word witch hunt keeps coming up, but this is the worst one I've seen.
Yep.
They couldn't get him on the Russia nonsense. Now they come up with something else.
No collusion, no obstruction, no nothing.
And
now a phone call to a foreign leader to ask him to look into corruption in the previous. They're saying that he's doing this for his own political gain. I think Trump would roll out the red carpet for Joe Biden to be his opponent in the next election.
I agree with you. I would like to see Joe Biden as the opponent.
That's what I'm saying.
That wouldn't be bad. I think he's the most moderate of all of them. If I was going to be stuck with a Democrat president,
right? That's true. But I'm saying I think Trump will mollywop him. I can't even see. He can't even. He's limping into the race now. He's 13 months out. His teeth are falling out. His eyes are bleeding. He can't remember what state he's in.
And clearly, they're worried about it.
Yeah.
So they have to come up with stuff like this.
Yeah. And
they're going to constantly do this. And everybody, again, back to the law. People ignore the law. They ignore the Constitution. They have no regard for the Constitution.
No question.
God forbid they ever get to have a constitutional convention, if it gets that far. But this is very clearly spelled out. In fact, everybody listening, don't worry. The president will not be removed from office because of this.
Well, that's
guaranteed.
I like that. I like when guys give guarantees. We don't always get guarantees on the show, but when you bring in, Tuesday, October 1st was the start of Italian American Heritage Month, so I love having one of my fellow Italian Americans on the show.
That's right.
And we have the nerve, which is the best word I can use, to make predictions, us Italian Americans, because when we believe in something, we go for it hard. And I know you fight for criminal defendants, but when you look at this I know you're a right-wing person. I'm very favorable to Trump. But just when you look at it at the surface, is there, for us, street lawyers, what's the prima facie crime here or misdemeanor that they could be alleging?
There is none. None. I don't see a crime at all.
A conversation with another president to look into corruption.
The man is doing the job that we elected him to do. In fact, he's the only one allowed to do that legally.
That's how I thought it was. But
you can't. Nobody else in government, other than with the authority of the executive branch, the chief executive, is allowed to negotiate with foreign powers.
Right, and
that's treason.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when Joe Biden, he's on tape saying, hey, I want you to fire the prosecutor who's looking into my son's company. And if you don't, I'm going to take $1 billion in loan guarantees and I'm leaving in 6 hours. And then he says, well, son of a bitch, don't you know, they fired the prosecutor.
If that's not close to some form of bribery, and it's for their personal gain. And,
100%.
And he got away with it, and now there's a new administration in that wants to look into it.
Yeah.
And that's the crime?
Yeah.
That's why we're going to impeach the man?
Yeah, we want to look at the last. We want to look at the last crew's corruption. Oh, we got to impeach you. We can't let you look at that stuff. I want to thank Vince Trimarco for joining us today. He's a great friend of the show, and we hope we'll have you back on again soon.
Absolutely.
And
thank you.
if you happen to get in trouble and you need a kick butt, can't curse, you know. But if you need a great criminal defense attorney, look up Vince Trimarco. He's the man for the job. You're watching Liquid Lunch. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back after this with Michelle Malkin. We're going to be talking about sanctuary cities in our new book, Open Borders. All that and more right here on Liquid Lunch right after this.